What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Work Knife Balance. We're going to be diving into another knife we got through the pass around group. This one is pretty amazing. Definitely in contender for Knife of the Year for me. So let's go ahead and head to the top down and see what we got. All right. So this one's coming from the Lefty EDC pass around group. Want to give a shout out to Lefty and say thank you very much for that. If you haven't, feel free to hit the like and subscribe button down below to our channel here, Work Knife Balance. You can also head over to Instagram and follow us at Work Knife Balance 939. That's the best way to communicate with us. Let us know what you want to see, what you don't want to see, what you like, what you don't like, all that good stuff, and give us suggestions on knives you think we should take a look at. So we're always open to hear more suggestions. So yeah, let's go ahead and open this up. If you can't tell, we've got a Vosteed in here, and not only a Vosteed, but we've got a Vosteed that is has a new lock for Vosteed, and oh my gosh, I just really like this knife. And on top of that, this is one of the first compression locks that I have seen since the patents dropped for Spyderco's compression lock. So this is Vosteed's take. They're calling it a top lock on the compression lock, I believe, here. So this thing is pretty fantastic. Absolutely loving this. Definitely a contender for Knife of the Year for a lot of different variations and reasons. We'll go ahead and do tip to tail, and then we'll do some side-by-side comparisons. I will give you my thoughts and opinions on this. Spoiler alert, I love it. I think it's awesome. And then we'll just end it there. So we'll go ahead and get started. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather, and my sniffles are getting me coughed up. But we'll go ahead and get started with the overall measurements here. So overall measurements, we're looking about 8 inches with a blade length of 3.25, cutting edge of about 2.8 on there. So you have a really nice big finger choil, also used as a sharpening choil on that. For some side-by-side comparisons, we'll go ahead and start with the CDC Chicago, put that one right up top. Then we'll go ahead and pull out the NAFS Lander 2, put that down below. We'll go ahead and get a Kaiser Veritas in here. Put that one up top. And then we'll move on to the Civivi Elementum button lock. Put that one down below. Get the CJRB Warney Pyrite up top. We'll go ahead and get the Sencut Kyril. This is the Ferrum Forge designed Sencut right here. And then we'll go ahead and pull out the Bug Out, Benchmade Bug Out. That's my customized Bug Out right there. And last but not least, we'll go ahead and get the Hogue Deca and put that down below. So you've got a really good kind of variation of side-by-side comparisons. Feel free to go back, pause it, watch it over if you want to see what any of those knives look like in comparison to this. If you've got one. If you don't, you've probably handled one of those knives. So yeah. First thing I want to say, this knife, I was skeptical about it because I thought it was going to be another hype knife. I thought this was going to be just a knife that Vosteed kind of blasted out there to a bunch of reviewers and said, hey, this thing is our new knife. It's a new take on the compression lock. We want you all to hype this up and see what it's like. And I will say this is definitely not a hype knife. It is 100% worth all of the praise that you've heard about it and all the excitement that comes with it. This thing is pretty awesome. So it does have a compression lock, and if you look here, you can kind of see it on the backside. So we're going to hold the blade that way it doesn't fall on me. But see if we can get that to zoom in, or at least focus up. You can see how it's actually releasing it from the backside there and coming across. So that is a version of Spyderco's compression lock that Vosteed has turned into a top lock. This is a really cool knife. I really like the design, fit, and feel, and the fact that it has a little bit more of a substantial and kind of sturdy lock on it rather than just a liner lock makes me feel really good. You get 100% lock up on that backside, not having to worry about anything there with the kind of like whack test that's going on as well. And then you have a really sweet detent with a button lock. So the fact that it is a button actuated, you have an actual detent pushing this out, it kind of changes a lot of it for me. Makes it really worth it. On top of all the cool things that we just mentioned there, you do have an LMAX steel. So Vosteed did this one in an LMAX steel. And you've got a titanium scale knife. So you've got a titanium clip right here, milled titanium clip. You have a titanium backspacer on the back right here with some great jimping. And then you've got the titanium scales here, which have a really cool milling to it, kind of a bolster pattern in the milling right here. And then some texturing right along there, which gives it good grip too as well. And it feels really nice. This is a little long for my taste. I don't feel anything on it. I don't feel any pinch points. I don't feel any hot spots or anything like that. I just wish it was a little bit shorter because that's a huge thing to be sticking out of your pocket. Although it does end right here. So it's not really a deep, deep carry, because if you look, the pocket clip only comes to right here. So that means you've got about that much sticking out of your pocket when you put it in pocket. So would have been really kind of cool to get a titanium deep carry clip on this to kind of get that a little bit more secure. But it is a really nice knife regardless of that. You've got really good ergos on this, really good purchase points up here. You can actually choke up on that flat spot, and it is a little contour flat. So you have a little bit of a kind of gripping into it, and it feels really good here. You can get all the way up here and then rest your 3 behind and get into that finger choil spot and choke up there. Or you can just come naturally to that indexing spot and get right here. The one thing I will say is if you are a lefty, this is not reversible, but also a lefty, you're going to be pinching right on where that button is. So with the right grip, you could almost push that in. And I'm trying to see, I think you can see the blade moving right there. And that's with me holding and gripping it here. So I will say this is probably in no way a lefty knife. So if you are left-handed, you're going to have to hold this in your right hand. The way that everything's designed, you don't actually come up to that button here. Even on this side right here, when you come, your fingers come across and skip over. So if you're going to be choking up, you may need to just be aware that it's there, but my fingers, the way they rest, don't touch that button at all. So that's something to kind of look at. The top lock on this is kind of blocked by the detent. So if you feel right there, you've got a little bit of a detent that stops it as the detent ball starts to get back on the blade there. But if you give it a little bit of a harder push, you can actually just drop it all the way down, which is pretty cool there as well too. So yeah, you got good jimping on the top for the front flipper, and the front flipper has actually been my favorite. I saw a couple other videos. I think MC did a video where he said like he would never use the front flipper on this. The deployment hole is his choice for this knife, and it's a really good deployment hole as well. Personally, I really like the front flipper. It's very satisfying. You can actually get up here and roll it over as well if you wanted to do kind of that like reach over front flipper. But the fact that you have those different deployment methods is really nice, because personally, that's a very satisfying front flip. It has really good acoustics. It's got really good design, really good ergos and feel. And from someone who really enjoys front flips in myself, I really, really like the fact that that big front flip right there is a very satisfying front flip, and it feels really good. Let's talk a little bit about the blade. You've got a really big belly blade right here, which is fantastic, and a really deep swedge on it. I really like the fact that it has a big belly, because you're going to get more cutting power, more slicing power from that big belly. I don't have calipers next to me, but this does feel really pretty thin along it, and I was using it to cut through some paper the other day. After we did the unboxing, did some slicing on it, and it actually sliced really well. So I think Vosteed did a really nice design on this as they cut through and did this. I believe it just has a flat grind as it comes down, so there's not really a hollow grind on this one or anything. But if you did a deep hollow on this, you would be able to get pretty good. You would be able to get a pretty good sliciness coming out of this big belly knife right here. So that would be one thing that I would look at, maybe doing a regrind for if you're going to use it as a slicer, because the big belly and the really nice drop point on it. You could have someone do a really kind of regrind on the hollow there, and that would be make it even better of a slicer of a knife. So yeah. These do come in about $250. There are 4 different variations of this knife. There is a blacked out kind of variation. You've got a black coating on the blade and a black titanium. You also have a gray version, and then with blue around it, which is the one you're seeing right here. And then a satin finish, and then you have a curved black version, and you have a curved gray version. So there's both flat versions and curved versions. And by that, they're talking about the scales. So There's flat scales and contoured scales. This is the flat scaled version right here. I haven't been able to hold the contoured version. I like this a lot. I don't know if you need the contoured version, but if you're looking for it, you can't get it anyways because they're sold out right now. So I'll be looking for these on the secondary. I will say this is definitely contender for Knife of the Year, coming in at $250 with the titanium and the L-Max plus the compression lock on that top lock from Vosteed right there. This is a pretty epic knife. Vosteed has definitely outdone themselves. I'm looking to see what they do with this lock. Knowing Vosteed, they're probably going to start making a lot of their older variations in a top lock, and then a lot of their new knives are probably going to start coming out with top lock versions as well. So I would love to see more top lock from Vosteed. This is a fantastic knife, a fantastic lock, very well executed and done for $250. Can't ask for much else on that. So until next time, that's all we got. TTFN.